Other Negroes coming here?
No, I don't think so. I think that there will be probably a normal entrance and not a deluge. I mean, people who want these homes will come here. It's not what people say that, oh, influx. There won't be any such thing. There'll be a normal, I hope, and because I would like to see an integrated group here, and I would like to see, well, my child, and I hope my children go to and live in a group that is representative of the world, and not being an integrated group, it is not now a representative of society. Of course, we've all discussed this, and we've all said that the answer to the problem is eventually when you find that there are no more areas to which a white person can move without having a Negro family in. Well, that would be the best end that there could be to segregation, and it is probably something that will happen in the future, perhaps in the near future.
For some, the answer is tremendously complicated, tied up in a maze of past associations and present influences. Sometimes opinions are expressed with grave misgivings and a sense of guilt. The past slips through despite what is said. Being for Myers can be difficult if one's background rejects this decision.
Some of the people are definitely against integration. And they have told my children that they have to marry niggers. And my child doesn't even know what a nigger is, but from the sound, it has scared them, and they have come home just crying, Mommy, do I have to marry Negroes? And my answer in handling all the fears that children come in is that you can marry whomever you wish.
By the way, we both seem to be from below the Mason and Dixon line. Where are you from?
I come from Kentucky.
Had you known any Negroes before you came to Levittown?
My father had a business in an area where there were several colored people. And I can honestly say one of my best friends was a colored girl. And as children have no prejudice, we became very close friends. And in her later years, she has become a registered nurse and trying very hard to raise her children in a clean atmosphere. And we have talked now since we both have been married, and it's such a disadvantage to see her children try to grow up healthy in the atmosphere that they have to live in.
A personal relationship and sympathy with a Negro who is trying to improve her circumstances seems to make a difference.
I have found several colored people that I have enjoyed their friendship. I would not let that determine whether I become friend to them by the color of their skin.
Have you heard any rumors?
I had heard several rumors, of which that I have just taken as rumors go. But the one that bothered me most was the fact that the Myers family has moved in to several all-white sections and trying to be the first colored family to move in, to start the other ones to come in, that they have done this before. Now, I believe that if they do come here to cause trouble, then I'm against what they're doing, their principle. But if they're just trying to find a better place to live and to bring up their children, then I'm for them.
There are those who live in Levittown who like it and intend to stay. They have no intention of according the same privilege to the Myers. Some of them find it more comfortable to talk in a group. You're aware that a Negro family has moved into Levittown?
Yes, I heard about it.
What was your reaction?
Dynamite. Dynamite.
What have you done about it?
Well, I guess we just discussed it.
How do you feel about the Myers moving in?
Well, I'm very definitely against it.
Before coming to Levittown, did you have any contact with Negroes?
Well, when I came from a small town where we didn't have any colored people. And at that time I had, I had no feelings either way. But while we were waiting for our house to be built, we lived in Trenton for 9 months. And, well, that was my first contact with them, both in work and going through colored sections to work. And I was very happy I was moving into an all-white community.
Have you ever discussed the Myers at home with your children?
Never before in our house was anything mentioned, pro or con, about colored people, because I feel that they have to be in contact with them to a certain extent, and why should their minds be prejudiced? But since they have moved here, they have heard remarks, and, well, I'm afraid that they are going to dislike the idea. There were colored children in the school my son attended last year for the first time, and he often came home and said there had been trouble between them during the day at school.
It becomes convenient to exaggerate one's own fears and to help a neighbor increase hers.
My boy, he likes sports, and he used to go down there every Saturday with a few of the boys from the neighborhood. And there was an argument that occurred, something real silly. My boy and a colored boy got in an argument. Well, from that time on, for the whole remainder of the summer, the boy was afraid to get down there because the colored boys got a gang together. And every time they would get near my Jimmy, they would beat the devil out of him. I went to the principal and everything about it.
A major factor is fear. Fear of economic loss, loss of status, fear of violence, and fear of intermarriage. Do you think other Negro families will come to Levittown?
Definitely.
Yes.
What do you think will happen?
Well, just what's happening already. I don't know. It's a rumor I read in the paper where they have 2 colored school teachers now in Levittown. So that's just a good example of what is going to happen.
Well, what's wrong with that?
I do not like it. I have 2 daughters and 2 sons. And if there's too many colored people around here, I definitely will get out. I'm not thinking I don't want her associating with colored people, period.
Well, I'm very definitely against mixed marriages, and that's eventually what it's going to come to. If children are raised together, they're not going to think of anything of marrying together.
Well, I just could not live beside them. I don't feel that they should be oppressed. But I moved here, one of the main reasons was because it was a white community. And that's the only place I intend to live. If I have to leave Levittown, I will do so.
For some Levittowners, the basic issues involved had nothing to do with intermarriage or property values, loss of status, fear of crime, neighborhood decline, or of being in the minority. They saw it as a test of democracy. What was your reaction to the Myers moving in?
Well, I was happy to see this become more of an American community.
There seems to be a large group opposed to the Myers. What would be your attitude toward them?
Well, I would divide... I don't know if there are large groups of people opposed to the Myers. After all, we have some, I don't know, I guess close to 60,000 people in Levittown. Those mobs were never more than 500 or 600. And I think if you'd gone down to the shopping center any night at the time the mobs were here, you would have seen 10,000 people at the shopping center, while those who were violently opposed to the Myers moving in were engaging in what they were engaging in.
You don't think, then, that a large majority is against Myers moving in?
Well, that's not true offhand. I know some of the immediate neighbors right here who were for the Myers moving in. I wouldn't hazard a guess at what the proportion is that welcomes the Myers and what proportion is opposed to it, but I don't think that's the main issue involved in this case anyway.
What is the main issue?
The main issue is the right of these people to live like Americans as they choose and to be accepted as good neighbors.
What are you going to do about it?
I intend to try to be a good neighbor.
Do you feel that the Myers coming to Levittown will lead to large numbers of other Negroes coming here?
I don't know.
Do you think the Myers will be able to live here comfortably?
I think it'll take a little time, but they will eventually.
Have you heard any rumors about the Myers?
Oh, dozens and dozens of rumors.
What kind?
Oh, that he was being paid by the NAACP, that the Reds were behind it, that the Jews were behind it, that this group and that group was behind it. There were all kinds of rumors. I guess some of them were being spread deliberately, some were just a result of hysteria. There was all kinds of malicious rumors. Some of them were so ridiculous you couldn't see how people could accept them, but in the atmosphere, some people did accept them and spread them.
What course do you think the future of Levittown will take?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think Levittown's an island. It's part of the USA, and I think it's going to integrate like the rest of this country is going to integrate.
In Levittown, as elsewhere in America, there are those who believe that the rights and privileges of citizenship belong to all, regardless of their race or color or creed. And there are those who believe in equality, too, but in a somewhat more limited sense.
In my business, whoever's got money and has good credit or wants to pay cash can buy a car. It has no discrimination, color, religion, or any type of that.